Welcome to the You Two Scare Me podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Felice.
And I'm Andy, and we are coming to you from Key West, Florida.
Andy, we just came back from a very fun field trip. You want to tell a little bit about it?
So, at one of the resorts here on full moon days, like once a month, I don't know.
Full moon days. Okay.
Also, did you see the full moon? It's kind of spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they have these like spooky story nights. And so we decided we would attend. And there was this amazing storyteller. What was her name?
Amy. Yes.
Shout out Amy.
She was amazing.
Yes.
So entertaining, so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But kept it all going, kept it spooky but funny. She was great. She was awesome.
Yeah. And so she went over the history of Key West, because a lot of the people who were there were visitors, and talking about, the Island of Bones and all of that stuff. And so we learned some things.
Yes.
And I think we have some additions to Carl Tanzler's story, especially.
Yes.
So, do you want to kick that off?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, if you will recall, I think this was our second episode that we did. So this lady, Amy, she actually has been in contact with Elena Hoyos's family, and she's done a lot of her own research. So she had some artifacts that were actually no one else has ever seen. So that was awesome.
Super cool. She had a photo of Elena with her sister.
Yes.
And
when they were kids.
Yeah.
I thought that was so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a few other things. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. It's good. So, all right. So these are our updates to Carl's story. And if you remember, Carl was a freak.
Yeah.
And if we can't fill you in on all the details of that right now. You need to go back and listen to episode 2.
Or re-listen before you hear these updates.
Yeah, but he was a freaking weirdo, that's for sure. So one thing that we didn't mention before is that in between taking Elena from her tomb to his house, Carl actually had built this weird airplane thing. It didn't have wings. I don't know what he wanted to store her in it. I say store, but I mean, he did store her in it, but he was placing her there because I don't know. What was his reasoning?
Some of it was that he thought that he could like essentially bring her back, like heal her somehow with this magical
wingless airplane. So
yes. Which he kept at his work.
He kept it at work at the hospital. Remember, he is an X-ray tech. And then his work was like, dude, get this weird airplane out of that parking lot.
But like, also, how long was it there? And was nobody like, what are you doing over there, Carl?
What are you eating your lunch by your airplane? That's so weird. So then he took it out kind of by the beach, like at White Street Pier, and he put it there for a while. And then finally he took it to his house. Or he took her to his house. He took her out of it and took her to his house. So that's one update that we kind of missed. And that is something that is commonly heard in Key West lore. But I missed it whenever I was doing my research in the beginning. The second thing is that Elena's sister, and her name was Florinda. This one is really crazy. So after all of this went down and she found Elena, and the funeral home put her on display, and thousands of people, including school children, came and visited.
And we saw a photo of a ton of kids there on presumably a field trip.
Yes.
And so that was a little crazy to see, because we had heard that. And then we've even talked to some people whose grandparents remember going to see her. But that was the first photo I saw of all those school children.
Yeah, and it was in color too. So it was even, I don't know, it made it even freakier. But so Elena asked the funeral home to, trigger warning, divide her body into 3 pieces and place each piece in a box that was lined with white satin. And then she asked the mayor, the police chief, and the fire chief to each bury a piece and swear that they would never, ever tell where their piece was. Because she was smart. Florinda was smart, because I think she knew that Carl could not be stopped. She
recognized a crazy when she saw it.
Yeah. And so they never broke their word. So to this day, nobody knows where any of those parts of Elena have been buried. So that is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, after moving back to Zephyr Hills, where Carl's wife and kids lived, Carl ended up writing a book, made some postcards, and sold little Elena dolls. And all of this was telling about his quote unquote love story with Elena.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He was still crazy. He never really stopped being crazy.
And that book that he published, like there are copies available, and we actually saw one in real life tonight. So that was pretty cool because we had seen photos of that book.
And I even, to be honest, I had questions about it because on the book, Carl is spelled with a K, and everywhere else in my research, Carl has been spelled with a C. So I asked Amy about that, and she said that because he came from Germany, in Germany they spell Carl with a K, and here they spell it with a C, and he was trying to kind of wipe away that German history when he came, which I think so often happens.
Well, yes, but also to go along with that, Carl was probably trying to lose some of that history since he was a Nazi.
Yeah, we found that out too. That was never mentioned before. So he was an actual Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
He's the worst, honestly. In fact, he was so creepy that he was buried in Zephyr Hills in an extra wide casket with a life-sized effigy of Elena. So he made another doll of Elena and was buried with her.
So weird. Also, I always think about and feel so bad for his actual wife.
Yeah.
Who, was in Zephyr Hills, and then one of their children passed away when she was there by herself, and he was frolicking with
Elena's corpse.
Yeah.
So we found out that one of his daughters died of diphtheria about 2 years into his 7-year rendezvous with Elena's corpse.
Mm-hmm.
And he never even came home for that.
Right.
What a trash person.
For real.
The last thing, so we talked about that Carl was a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Amy found a record of his grandson's grave, and his name was John. Did you have his John?
I have it. I had it pulled up here. Let me see if I still do.
Okay.
I can find out in one second.
But John, so keep in mind, Carl was a Nazi.
John Martin Clendenning.
Okay. John had converted to Judaism. He was in the U.S. Army. He had a Purple Heart, and he passed in 2000. Right? Is that what it says? 2000. I think so. His grave says, "Papa, friend of Israel, lover of righteousness."
Right. Just such a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
The exact opposite of who his grandfather was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was really interesting and something that stood out to us.
Yeah. I think it was like he took something that could have been a really horrible legacy and turned it completely around.
Absolutely. You do not have to be a product of your family.
That's right. That's right. We can make choices. That's exactly right. So that was really an awesome experience. Totally would recommend that. If you're in town for the full moon, go to Southernmost Beach Resort, do the ghost talk.
And it's not always the same thing. Like she said that there are different topics that she covers and things like that. But she's an amazing storyteller. So yay, Amy. Everybody go see her.
She has books that she's written, and she's awesome.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
So thank you,
We're
Amy.
a little obsessed.
Yeah. So in case you are just joining us for the first time, we are two ladies who love scary stuff.
But don't worry. We respect the forces behind the things that go bump in the night and give us goosebumps.
We are suckers for a good time, though, so you can expect a lot of laughter as we tell our stories.
The stories are true.
We're pretty sure.
We dive into a range of scary and mysterious topics, the eerie, the unexplained, and the forgotten shadows that live just beneath the surface of our world.
In the You Two Scare Me podcast, we secretly research topics and we don't share our stories with each other until we hit record.
Dive into the shadows with us as we bring you haunting tales in this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Shall we dive in?
Okay, before we get into today's spooky story, well, first, sidebar. We tried this last night. I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain. So we tried this last night.
Wizard, is that you?
I can't remember if we've talked about this before, but I'm not a night owl. I'm a daytime person. And sometimes when we go too late in the night, It's hard for me to get my words out. And also, I get a little weepy. So today I'm going to try this again.
I made her some coffee.
Yes. We're going to power through and it's going to be amazing.
So amazing.
Yes. So I'm going to teach you the song. Okay. So don't get ahead of
The
yourself.
stars at that one?
Yes. You know it? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I only know it from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about Texas.
I should have worn a hat.
You should have. I should have too.
Oh my gosh.
So, Andy, you probably know this by now, but Texans love to talk about Texas. It's our favorite.
I might have heard that.
In fact, in Texas, at least when I was a kid, and I did a quick search, I think it's still the same. The whole 7th grade history class is dedicated to Texas history because it's so deep. Got your big old, well, back then, they probably don't even have textbooks anymore, but we would have our big old thick textbook of Texas history. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's deep and wide. So,
just like Texas.
Yeah, exactly. So, I do think it's important to briefly talk about this history in order to understand why so many paranormal stories come out of this land. This land has been through a lot over the centuries. So Texas has never belonged to just one people or one time period. In fact, 6 flags have flown over Texas.
6 Flags, the amusement park?
Yeah, that's what it's named after. You're going to find out why.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yes. Each flag marking a new chapter of conquest, resistance, and survival. So we're going to talk about the flags and those nations that they represented for a second, and then we'll talk about who came before that. So, because obviously that's really important. But the first flag came from Spain, claiming the region in the 1500s and building missions and presidios across indigenous land. Then France, briefly and disastrously. Then Spain again. Then in the 1820s, it became part of Mexico, leading to years of tension as Anglo settlers moved in under Mexican rule. This is going better already than last night, I think.
I mean, there's no weeping yet. Unless you're weeping on the inside.
No, I'm good. Also, the words are coming out, so this is good. Thank you for the coffee.
Great.
In 1836, Texas declared itself an independent nation, the Republic of Texas, complete with its own president, currency, and army.
Oh.
It joined the United States in 1845, only to secede and fight as part of the Confederacy during the Civil War. Eventually, it was readmitted to the U.S., but the scars of conflict and colonization never really faded. That's 6 actual flags, but we must remember the people who were originally on the land that we now call Texas. Long before 6 Flags flew over Texas, long before the roller coasters were there, this land belonged to its first people. From the pine forest of East Texas to the windswept plains and sun-bleached deserts of the West, indigenous tribes lived, traded, hunted, and thrived here for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. In East Texas, the Caddo people were the builders of villages and ceremonial mounds, and probably grounds too. They gave us the word Tejas, which means friend or ally, a name that eventually became Texas.
I'll start calling you Tejas.
Tejas.
Hey, Tejas.
Thank you. I did learn that in 7th grade.
Wow.
They were farmers, artists, and diplomats with a culture rich in ceremony and community. To the south, the Coahuiltecun people roamed the brushlands of the Rio Grande Valley, surviving off the land in small nomadic bands. And along the Gulf Coast, the Karankawa lived by the tide, fishing, gathering shellfish, and paddling dugout canoes through the bayous. So Texas is big, and there are there's every landscape you can pretty much imagine there.
Which is funny because as somebody who is not from Texas, when recently I had a friend who moved to the Austin area, and she's like, there's trees and hills and it's almost like
the hill country there.
Yeah. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm picturing tumbleweeds.
That's where I'm from. Flat, no trees, tumbleweeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was really interesting because I never picture Texas in that way.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on there. So out west in the rugged desert where the Jumano people traders, hunters, and spiritual messengers who left mysterious markings on canyon walls and guided Spanish explorers through now what is West Texas. And that's where I'm from. And in the plains and hill country, actually, I'm from the plains, but it is also part of West Texas. I'm from the Panhandle, which is like the top square part of Texas.
Okay.
In the plains and hill country, the most feared and respected warriors were the Comanche, the Kiowa, and the Apache. And they dominated the region for generations. Fierce defenders of their territory, expert horsemen, and master tacticians.
Very cool.
Yeah. Later, after the Pueblo Revolt in New Mexico in 1680, the Tigua people were relocated to El Paso, where they remain to this day as Isleta del Sur Pueblo, one of 3 federally recognized tribes still in Texas, along with the Alabama Coushatta in the east and the Kickapoo along the border, which I was actually thinking about this today. Of all the indigenous people who lived in that region, only 3 are federally recognized.
That's
only 3
crazy.
tribes. I mean, there are other tribes, some, like, I think the Apache tribe they have land in New Mexico. And so maybe that's where their federal land is. I really don't know that much about how that works, but I don't know. I thought that was really interesting.
And you mentioned that one tribe was relocated, relocated by the government.
Yes.
Okay.
To my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
So many others, like the Karankawa and the Coahuiltecan, were nearly erased by disease, displacement, and mission life. But their spirits haven't left this land, and their descendants are still here reclaiming language, culture, and history. This is where I lost it yesterday, so I'm still doing good. Okay.
Well, let's talk about why that maybe resonated a little bit with you.
Well, I have some family ties to the Apache people in New Mexico. So,
so awesome.
Near and dear, yeah. So when we talk about ghost stories or why the land feels heavy with memory, we're not starting with settlers or cowboys, but we will get into all of those stories as well. We are starting with the first peoples whose presence is still woven into the rivers, the rocks, the winds, and the names we use every day, because the ground we stand on was theirs first.
Yes.
And in many ways, it still is.
Mm-hmm.
This land has seen indigenous displacement, border wars, bloody battles, enslaved people brought against their will, and entire towns that vanished when the oil ran dry. It's a place where history doesn't just live in textbooks. It lingers in the walls, the roads, and the rivers. So when someone in Texas says they saw something strange, a figure in the woods, a voice near the water, a shadow at the foot of their bed, they're not just making it up. They're echoing a long tradition of people who have seen things they couldn't explain.
Ooh.
And we're going to get into all of that.
Ooh.
From ghost lights in the big thicket to haunted schools in El Paso to weeping women near the water, Texas is full of spirits and stories. And maybe after hearing them, you'll believe there's more to this land than barbecues and cowboy boots, which are also cool. Today, we follow the sound of a woman weeping down into the dark, winding rivers of Texas. You ready?
I'm ready.
She's called La Llorona.
Oh.
She's one of the most enduring spirits in Latin American folklore. And here in Texas, her legend has taken deep root. Her name means the weeping woman. And whether you heard her story whispered by your abuela, thank you, read about her in a school anthology, or saw her in a horror movie, La Llorona is everywhere and nowhere.
Ooh, so spooky.
Some say she's a warning. Others say she's a curse. But those who've seen her say nothing at all. La Llorona's story didn't start in Texas. In fact, her origins stretch all the way back to pre-Columbian Mexico. Some say she's the echo of the Aztec goddess Cihuacotl, who wandered at night, weeping for her children, an omen of war, destruction, or death. According to legend, Cihuacotl would cry out, "My children, your destruction is near."
Whoa.
It's chilling.
Yeah.
Especially when you hear it echoed centuries later in La Llorona's anguished wail, "Ay, mis hijos."
Great job.
Thank you. We do our best. After the Spanish arrived, her story changed. Now she was a mortal woman, beautiful, often poor, who fell in love with a man of wealth or status. He abandoned her, as sometimes happens.
Wow.
More often than we would like to think, right? In her rage or despair, she drowned her children, then herself.
Oh.
And the punishment? She would never find peace. Her soul was cursed to wander the earth, weeping for the children she lost. She would say, "Ay, mis hijos, oh, my children." They say her cries echo wherever tragedy lingers and wherever children are at risk.
Oh.
In some stories, she became tangled with La Malinche, the indigenous woman who served as translator and consort to Hernan Cortez. So Cortez was the Spanish conquistador who led the expedition that led to the fall of the Aztec Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Seen by many as a traitor, Malinche was later reimagined as La Llorona, a woman punished for choosing the conqueror over her people. In that version, the children she mourns are not just her own, but all of Mexico's.
Oh.
So Texas was once part of New Spain, as we talked about, and then part of Mexico. As families moved north through colonization, migration, and conflict, they settled in San Antonio, El Paso, and the Rio Grande Valley. They brought their stories with them, and La Llorona was among them. And in Texas, her legend grew wild. She no longer belonged to one river or town. She was seen in homes, on rural roads, in schools, levees, and city parks. She had become Texas folklore. She became a symbol of maternal grief, punishment, and the dangers that lurk in the shadows.
Oh.
Her presence in Texas is more than legend, it's personal. By the mid-1800s, she had taken root in Texas, especially in Tejano communities, border towns, and riverside settlements. Her story was passed down around fires, whispered at bedtime, and woven into prayers. I think about this, I don't know if I say this later, but you know how like Grimm fairy tales were oral traditions and they were passed around to like scare the children into being safe.
Right,
You know, like
right.
Don't go in the forest, stay, you know, there's a big bad wolf. I think a lot of times these stories are about keeping children safe, you know, and so this is a lot of part of why some of these stories were passed, you know.
Okay.
Sometimes legends like La Llorona are tied to real events. In the 1930s, massive floods along the San Antonio River and the Rio Grande displaced families and took lives. In the aftermath, stories of La Llorona surged. Some say her cries preceded the water as if she were mourning the living.
Oh, kind of like the banshee.
Exactly. Yep. La Llorona also spread through Mexican labor camps and ranching communities in Texas, where her story taught children to stay away from rivers, listen to their elders, and respect the spirit world.
Okay.
Folklorists documented these stories throughout the 20th century. Two of the most important figures in preserving stories like La Llorona's were Americo Paredes and J. Frank Dobie. So Paredes was a Mexican-American scholar from South Texas, and he gave voice to the lived experiences of border communities. He didn't just collect stories, he defended them. His work showed legends like La Llorona aren't just spooky tales, but cultural memory passed down through generations. Dobie, on the other hand, was a white folklorist who loved Texas legends of cowboys, ghosts, and outlaws. He traveled the state collecting stories from ranchers, vaqueros, and elders, including some of the earliest printed references to La Llorona in Texas.
Interesting.
One gave us the voice from inside the culture, the other helped carry it to the outside world. Together, they helped keep her cry from being forgotten. And the eerie part? Many of the tellings were nearly identical, even in towns hundreds of miles apart.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Those are what,
Okay.
like, I feel like those are the times when it's like extra creepy because when you hear the same story from different sections of people,
Right.
you know, it gives some
like credibility.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So now for some of those actual stories.
Okay, buckle in.
Let's start in San Antonio. There's a real place called Woman Hollering Creek just off I-10. Some say the name is a mistranslation of La Llorona's cries. Others say she's truly there, wailing among the banks. Local legend says a woman drowned her children there long ago, and to this day she wails along the water. If you're near the creek after dark, you might hear her cries, long, desperate, and inhuman.
Oh.
People who live nearby say they've heard her crying, always crying, when the moon is high and the water is low. In El Paso, one woman and her daughter reported hearing a horrible scream outside their home. This one really reminded me of Banshee. When they looked out the window, they saw a figure, a woman in a white dress. She had no feet. Her face was a blur. Police were called, but by the time they arrived, no one was there.
Oh, so spooky.
Yeah, and it was a scream. No feet. And then there's Mercedes, Texas. In 1997, a woman walking along a levee at night heard a soft sobbing. He spotted a woman in a tattered white dress, emitting a foul, deathly smell. She turned toward him, and he ran like hell.
Oh, my God.
He later visited a curandera. That's a traditional healer, because he was convinced he'd seen something not of this world. A local account, likely collected in a 20th century oral history or folklore study, mentions the man who encountered La Llorona along the levee in 1997. After being shaken by the sighting, he consulted this healer, and according to the source, she told him that the girl had found him. This suggests that the healer believed this spirit had recognized or identified with the witness, possibly binding them in some spiritual way.
Oh, no.
It's a brief, haunting line, almost cryptic. Instead of offering a ritual or cleansing, her words seem to affirm a deep connection between the man and the spirit of La Llorona.
Oh, what's the connection?
I don't know. She's like, I don't know. She's all yours.
She's like,
I can't help you.
Good luck with that. You guys are Tahasses now.
Yikes. Laredo has its own tale. There's a place there known as Devil's Corner. Locals say a woman once drowned her children after her husband left her for someone else. She's still seen there mourning them, searching for them. It's so sad.
I know.
Gosh.
All of these are kind of hurting my heart.
Yeah. La Llorona isn't frozen in time. She adapts. In some stories, she's now a hitchhiker on desolate roads. In East Bernard, a driver crossing the San Bernard River Bridge reported seeing a woman dressed in black, face hidden behind a veil, in his backseat after crossing the San Bernard River Bridge.
Oh, spooky.
When he pulled over, she was gone.
Oh.
In other cases, she appears in homes, standing at the window, knocking 3 times, always crying, and always something bad happens after. Sometimes she's a story told to children. Sometimes she's something more, a ghost of trauma or specter of warning. Across Texas, especially in Mexican-American families, La Llorona is part of oral tradition. Grandmothers tell her story to little ones. Parents warn their kids not to wander alone at night because she might mistake them for her own lost children.
Oh my gosh. So like she's taking them?
I don't know, but that is a scary story. No matter what.
Yeah.
If I was a kid and my mom or grandma told me that story, that would be so scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Those kids are in line all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
In literature, like Sandra Cisneros' Woman Hollering Creek, La Llorona represents female rage, abandonment, cultural dislocation, and maternal sorrow. She's not just a ghost. She's every woman who's been silenced, betrayed, or left behind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that a little bit better.
Yeah. She's appeared in pop culture, films, TikToks, urban legends, but her core stays the same. A cry in the night that chills you to your bones. A reminder that love, loss, and regret can echo for centuries. The power of the legend lies in this. Every person who hears her story tells it a little differently. Every sighting is local. Every warning is specific. And the crying, it always sounds like it's coming from just behind you.
Ooh.
So why does La Llorona endure in Texas? Maybe it's the rivers, maybe it's the history, or maybe deep down we all understand her grief.
Oh.
I do think that I feel like it's something like that. It's like such a deep grief of a woman especially like a lot of the stories are the same. Like she was abandoned and then lost her mind.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And then drowned her children a lot of times, you know.
It's so awful.
That's so much grief. Maybe we've all heard a sound in the night and wondered, was that a coyote, a trick of the wind, or something older? The next time you are near water in the dark, ooh, I never go near water in the dark. never gonna be me. That's my number one cardinal rule. No thanks. But next time you're near water in the dark or driving alone on a Texas back road and you hear soft sobbing in the distance, don't answer. Don't look back. And whatever you do, don't follow the sound.
Ooh, so spooky.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just like pee your pants if there were 3 knocks all of a sudden on the door?
Yes. I think 3 knocks are a bad vibe no matter what.
No matter what,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm pretty creeped out by this. Also, just as a side note, when we were setting up, the lights kept flickering and we were like, what is going on?
I hope it wasn't Llorona.
Don't even say that. I'm by the window.
Llorona.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Okay.
That was a great start to Texas, Felice.
Thank you. We have lots more. We've got some cryptids, some ghost lights, some haunted, you know, like traditional ghost stories. It's going to be really good.
Gosh. Yeah,
very good.
Wowzers.
Mm-hmm. Get ready.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What's something they say in Texas? What's like a Texas saying?
I'm fixing to do this. I'm fixing to do that.
I'm fixing to tell you a story now.
There we go. You're fixing to do it. Somebody told me. Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's hop into this. Somebody told me. So this is from one of our frequent sharers of stories.
Oh,
Leah.
Hey, Leah.
So she starts off with, hey, Andy and Felice. So much fun to hear my ghost story this week. I feel so bad because I got some of the details wrong. So just as a reminder, Leah told a story of seeing a man at her friend's house.
Yes.
And that man had ties to her mom. So that's just like a little throwback. Yes. Okay. I got some of the details wrong. The guy had a stroke, not throat cancer. Okay. Court's address is on Morgan Street, but in the same part of town as Grand. ... Uh-huh. I might get caught up by friends who know the details better, but the sentiments and the actual ghosty experiences are true to the best of my ability to remember. Enjoy. Ooh, we will.
Okay, we always do.
Okay, this one is called Dad's House Ghost. You'll have to warn me if you use this story in the podcast because I don't want Mark, my 8-year-old son, to hear it. Okay.
We're using it.
I'll let you know, Leah.
Okay. We're using it right now, Leah.
This is not a ghost story. I would not classify the spooky experiences at my dad's house like the ones I've had at my mom's or Courtney's house. But there is definitely a dark, dark energy. My parents divorced when I was a baby, so I have always had 2 homes. My dad owns an old farmhouse that we think was built around 1911 with a newer addition on the back that was built on in the 70s. It is several miles outside the city limits on a very secluded gravel road. It gets very quiet at night. My room at Dad's house was smack dab in between the storm cellar and the attic and faced the south side. The storm cellar was always cold and the attic was always cold. So my room just never felt quite right. I don't know how else to describe the feeling in my room or how I felt in that room, except I always sensed that I was never in control of the room's energy. It belonged to someone or something else. When I felt the ghost of my mom's house, she felt separate and distinct from me, and observant and respectful. The energy at my dad's house is all-encompassing. Sits on my shoulders and chest and makes the room feel dark. It was not always there, thank goodness. But when it was there, it got very uncomfortable. I remember having this awful feeling if the 2 closet doors were open when the lights were off. I remember my little twin bed pushed up against the far wall, and I'd lay facing the wall in order to sleep. I didn't have to do that anywhere else. The closet doors had to be shut at night, or the energy was unbearable.
Yeah.
I avoid sleeping in my old room at my dad's house when I go back to visit, but it's sometimes unavoidable. That room still feels awful, and I never get a good night's sleep when I'm there. There's no specific story or death or anything that we know about that would cause that sort of energy, but it's there nonetheless. I haven't talked about a lot of my ghost stories in a long time, but your podcast has brought all these fun memories back.
Whoa.
Oh, thanks, Leah. As I'm reflecting, I'm realizing that the longer I've been away from my hometown, the weaker my connection to the ethereal plane has become. It makes me sad because I'm now more fully prepared to deal with extra spirits or energies, but I just don't have access to them the same way I did when I was a kid.
I mean, I think that that's probably pretty common, that we've talked about that before, that sometimes kids are just maybe more open, even though she's open, but I don't know. I think it's just maybe like an easier
Right. And I think too,
pathway or something.
well, when you're an adult, you have your attention is divided with so many things,
Yeah.
with kids,
Yeah.
with work, with the stresses that are just
Sure.
part of life, that maybe you start tuning out some of those like
Oh yeah,
extra
and
sort
so
of
many
things.
distractions too.
Right.
Just even our phones, you know.
Yeah, true.
So wow, this is my advice for Leah: get a hotel room next time. Don't stay in that room.
Don't go to
I don't like
it. Yeah, that
just get a spring for the hotel room.
that just sounds. I
don't like
not,
that's not
just a ghost in my feeling.
No. Well, also, it's not like this is the only thing that she's ever experienced. And so if it feels weird to her,
right,
she's probably interpreting that the right way, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I don't know. Be safe, Leah.
Yes, please. We need you. Thanks,
you,
Leah,
Leah,
so much for sending in that story. Although I'm a little bit concerned about all of that business at your dad's. So let's heed Felice's sage advice about
I see what you did there.
and maybe get a hotel next time.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening to and downloading this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Have you checked out our website, you2scareme.com? You can find blog posts about our episodes, super cool photos of us, and links to buy our sweet merch.
Listeners, do you like what you hear? Help us reach more ears by sharing the show with your fellow weirdos.
You can also help us by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts. It is most helpful to us when our listeners download the episodes.
Don't forget to check out our social media. Find us on Instagram at you2scareme_podcast or on our Facebook page, You2Scare Me. You can even follow us on TikTok. It's getting good. Just search You2Scare Me podcast. No spaces.
Remember to send us your own spooky stories for our Somebody Told Me segment at you2scaremepodcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO scaremepodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.